Hello. We're going to do another little thingy majig. Last time, what did we talk about? We talked about the print statement. We talked about three data types. We talked about strings, integers, and floating point numbers. We also talked about variables, which was most of our time last time. So today, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk more about strings, because strings are really important. So I'm going to hop into the REPL over here, and we're going to get right into it. So last time when I was talking about strings, I told you that they were basically text, right? Between double parentheses, well, not parentheses, I'm sorry. It's a bunch of text between double quotes, right? Like this. Like this. This is a string. See, and that's a string. What I didn't tell you is some kind of special quirks of how strings work. For example, just a little thing. You can make the string that I just made earlier the same way if you use single quotes like this. This is a string. So that's also a string. But say in my string, and I was using double quotes, I wanted a double quote in my string, like hello world, like that, right? Where the word world is in double quotes. But if I was to just show you that, right? Hello world, and you can see that it's not the word world is not highlighted, which means it's not a part of the string. So you might be thinking to yourself, wait, does that mean if I run this, I'll get an error? And indeed you do. What's the problem here? What's the prabble? Well, the problem in this case is it doesn't know that these double quotes right here are a part of the string, right? If we were to tell it sees this double quote and thinks it's the end of the string, sees this word and tries to interpret it as some sort of command, and there's no command called world, so it throws an error. If we want to include the word world to the string, what we first have to do is, right before the first double quote around the word world, put a /, and then at the other one, right after the D, put another /. If I now press enter, you can see it gives me a string where the word world is surrounded in double quotes. What did we just do? What was this black magic that we just did? Well, we did something known as escaping a character in a string. Like this. Where we put a / and in front of the double quotes that we want in the string. This is basically us telling Python, hey, these double quotes are a part of the string itself and it is not the end of the string. Okay, you might be thinking to yourself, cool, my life's fine though. You're not going to tell me that there's anything more to this, right? Well, there is. See, because we use the / for escaping characters, we have to escape the escape character. Like that. Okay, real trivial example. What if I wanted just the / symbol as, a character, a single character? This will throw an error because, when it sees this / and then this double quote, it thinks that this string's going to continue. But it's not in this case. So what we have to do is do double quote, /, then the end quote. And that's seen as a single character right there. Don't worry about it. So yeah, in our string, the forward slash represents a single character and not two, because we're escaping the escape character. What other kind of special characters are there? Well, we got new lines, like, say I wanted to print out a single string, but I wanted it to be, like two words to be separated by new lines, then I would do /n. Like, this is on one line, /n, and this is on another line. If I print this out, you'll see it has, like, this is on one line, on the line above the next line, which is, and this is on another line. So that's the /n for new line. That's the new line character. What about tabs? If you wanted to put a tab in your string, you do /t. So, for example, maybe I have a text adventure game and I want to do like a little thing that says what the name of the room is, like bedroom, because you got to format it correctly to make it look nice, right? So you'll print this out and it's indented to make it look nice instead of it looking like garbage and having it just be hup 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 hup. And I screwed up because I'm stupid, dumb, idiot, garbage piece of human. Anyway, you can see that this looks a lot more gross, but this looks that much more better. And there are a lot of escape characters. There's also /b, which means the backspace, and /r, which means it's the carriage return. Yeah, if you want more information, I would highly recommend just Googling it. What fun. Okay, last time we talked about variables. Sometimes with variables, we need to change the value currently stored in it, right? Maybe we need to say we have a number n, and this is equal to 5, or better yet, it's equal to 6. And we want to multiply n by 7 and save the result to n. So what we could do is we could do n multiplied by 7, right? We could do this, where this is basically saying this n is the value that was previously stored in n, so this 6 multiplied by 7. And then we get this result, which is 42, and we store it into n as its new value. So n was previously 6, but now it's 42. Okay, so we changed the value, right? But sometimes it's a little tedious, especially if you're just like adding 1, like you're just doing n equals n plus 1, where you're basically incrementing the value. So if n, come here, if n was equal to, say, 0 this time, and we wanted to make it and we wanted to add 1 to it to make it equal to 1, we could write out n is equal to n plus 1, and that's perfectly valid, but that becomes tedious. So what's a way we could shorten this, huh? Is there some way we could shorten that somehow? Because all we're doing is we're taking the value currently stored in n, and we're adding 1 to it and setting that result to the value of n, as the value of n. And indeed, there is. This is the form. You have your variable name, the operator you wish to choose, the equal sign, and then the number. So you can, this right here, this entire line is completely the same as doing n is equal to n plus 1. This is just short. This one is just shorter and, doesn't take as many keystrokes to write out, and it's less tedious over time. But you could also not just use addition. You could do subtraction too, like minus equals 1. This would subtract 1 from the value currently stored in n. So n would become -1. Or say n is equal to 6 again, and we want to multiply the value in n by 7 and get 42. Then what we can do is do n star equals 7, and this is the same as doing n multiplied by 7, which means that in both cases, this one and this one, the value stored in n will be 42. Isn't that neat? And you can use any operator when you are using this special form. It doesn't have to be just multiplication or addition or subtraction. You could do, if you really wanted to, mod equals. Or if you wanted to divide, you can do divide equals. Like if you wanted to divide the value currently stored in n by 2, you can do n for backslash equals 2, which again is the same as doing this. So divides n by 2 and saves it. Or if you wanted to get the result only as an integer, you can do n // equals 2. Or if you want to raise it to some power and say the result back into n, you can do the exponent thing. Say you're raising 6 to the power 4. So this would set n equal to whatever 6 to the power 4 is, which I don't want to think about. Hopefully that made sense. Let's do a little bit of playing around with it. Okay, let's make a variable n, like I said earlier. Again, what we could do is we can set n equal to n plus 1, or let's just ask what the value in n is. You can see it's 1. If I do n is equal to n plus 1, it's getting the value previously stored in n, right here, 1, and adds 1 to it. So we should get 2. So if we ask what value is now currently stored in n, we get 2. But again, n equals n plus 1 is tedious, so we can do n plus equals 1. And now it's 3. Okay, what about we multiply it by 2? N times equals 2. So if we ask, this should be 6. And indeed it is. And now let's do modulus equals 3. So we're taking the remainder of dividing n by 3. And that should be 0. And it is, and indeed it is. That's super neat. Wowee, mister. In your program, you, a lot of the times, need to be able to get some response from the user, be it so that they can enter in their name or otherwise. So now I'm going to introduce to you the input command. And this is a little example thing that we'll type out to help us get acquainted with it. Okay, so what does the input command look like? It looks like just like that. And when I press enter, you'll see that nothing's happening, but actually it's waiting for me to type something in and press enter. So if I type in hello, me, a super duper ducky boy. What the heck am I? Anyways, if I enter in hello, me, a super ducky boy or whatever, it will return me a string, which is the exact thing I entered in. So the input command gets input from the user and returns a string, which is the result. Okay, that's cool and all, but what if I want to maybe bring up some text for the user so they know what the heck they're entering in? How would we do that? Well, real simple. Between the open and close parentheses, you put in a string, something like enter a message. And what this will do is it'll bring up the text, enter a message, right when it's getting input from me. So if I press enter, you can see the text enter a message comes in, and again, it waits for me to enter in something. Oh my, this is kind of crazy. And you can see that it returned me the string, which is my input, which is, oh my, this is kind of crazy. That's cool. Now you might be thinking to yourself, so Alastar, I know that I can save a string value to a variable. Does that mean I can get input from the user and save that in a variable? Well, you darn sure well can. let's do a simple example that will say hello to the user. So let's make a name variable. We'll have it be the input. We'll say, please enter your name. So this will get input from the user and save that string to the variable name. So the string, which is the input, hopefully their name, will be saved in the variable name. And now we're just going to greet them. Hello, comma, name, comma. When I'm printing out a bunch of values, of separate values that are separated by commas, it adds a space between each value. So if I run this and I enter in Jim, you can see there's a space between the word hello, Jim, and the exclamation mark. And that looks gross. How can we make that better? Well, we can do string concatenation, which I covered in the last video. I just need to add a space at the end of the string hello, because spaces are not automatically added when you're doing string concatenation. So let's run that again. Jimbo the Magnificent. Hello, Jimbo the Magnificent. Would you look at that? It greeted the user. Isn't that just wonderful? Amazing. I am just baffled. Okay. Yeah, that's all well and good, Alastar, but I need to be able to maybe get input from the user and be able to extract a number from it, right? What if I'm making a calculator, for example, or some super awesome banking system that will get some password? I got to be able to maybe get some number, right, as their PIN or something. How would I do that? I don't know how I could convert a string into a number. Alastar, how do I do that? How? Well, my dear friend, you can convert types, given you use data conversion statements. Whoa, that's crazy. You can see some examples here, which we'll run through right about now. So there are 3 types of conversion statements that we'll cover for today. Now, these work for multiple different types. And for now, I'm just going to try them out with strings. So say the user gave me some input, which is a number 42. And I'm like, I know this input is a number, but I need to make it into an actual number so that I can use it for math. How would I do that? We'll simply put the string inside the open and close parentheses after the keyword int and press. Well, obviously you would save the result to a variable, but in our case, since we're using the REPL, we can just press enter and get the result. So when we give it the string 42 inside of the int statement between the open and closed parentheses, it returns the result, which is just the number 42. So to prove that it's actually a number now, I can do 42 plus 1, which should give us 43. And oh my god, it does. Math is amazing. Isn't that cool? But Alastar, you might be thinking to yourself, that's all well and good, but that's an integer. What if the string is like 3.14159? What if I need to use my sweet pi? What happens then, Alastar? Oh boy, death happens. It's all death. Oh no, it's all death. What? Why? Woe is me. You see, it looks at the decimal point and it freaks the heck out. It doesn't know how to convert a string, which represents a floating point number, to an integer. Woe is me. Life is hard and I am sad. What if I just fed it in the floating point number, which is pi, 3.14159? What if I entered that in? Hey, Alastar, what would happen? Well, you just get the number 3. It just lobs off all the digits after the decimal point and the decimal point itself. So returns an integer. I hope that makes sense. there are two other functions we need to cover real quickly. Float, which works similarly to the int command, but it returns a floating point number. So if I do the example of entering in 42, you'll see that it returns 42.0 because it's a floating point representation of an integer value, which is always has a remainder of 0. But you can see now, hopefully, 3.14159, entering that in, you can see that now it actually returns the number, the floating point number 3.14159. That's cool, Alastar. Boy, oh boy, I can convert strings that are floating point numbers to numbers and convert frickin' strings of integers to floating point numbers. Wow-wee. What happens if I feed it in 4, the integer 4? Well, you get 4.0. Wow! Amazing! I'm just, oh, wow. But now you might be thinking to yourself, what if I have some result like my favorite number? My favorite example of all frickin' time. And I want to add some number to it, right? So that it says my favorite number is 4, but as one string. Well, if you remember from last time, we can't do this because we'll get an error. Python doesn't know how to add strings and numbers together. So what the ham, Alastar? How do I do that? How do I concatenate a string with a number? Well, if you remember correctly, you can only concatenate strings together. Okay? So maybe if I could convert the number 4 to a string, how would I do that? Real simple, friend. Like this. So I can do something like my favorite number. And I'll add that to this. So the number 4, the integer 4, is inside of the string command. So between the open and close parentheses. If I press enter, you'll see that the new string is given to me, which says my favorite number is 4. And you're like, whoa, this is black magic. So when I enter in a number into the string command, it returns that number as a string. Amazing. I am bewildered beyond belief. Wow. Wowie wow. So yes, that's how you convert data types. Remember, for converting data types, there's the int command. It will convert a string or a floating point number into an integer value. The float command will convert a string that either represents an integer or a floating point number into a floating point number. It'll also convert an integer itself into a floating point number. And the string command will convert anything, well, almost anything into it, any number that is, into a string representation of that number. So let's do some examples real quick. Let's use the shortening. Oh, actually, we'll calculate with the shortening. Let's say that we're going to make a number, and we're going to do Pythagorean's theorem, but for some reason, we don't want to do it all as one, equation. We want to do it in 2 separate steps, because we are magical. So let's do something like 3 to the power 2 plus, here, let's do parentheses to make sure that to make it look nice, and then 4 to the power 2. So we calculate the sum of 3 to the power 2 and 4 to the power 2. And then what we might do is we'll raise the value currently stored in n now to 0.5, which gives us the square root. And now if we show the result, or better yet, we can add the result to the string, which is the equal sign, to make it look more uniform. And I run that, you can see that it's 5.0. Oh my god. Oh, so just so you know, we calculated the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is 5. Oh boy, that was such a bad example, Alastar. I want something more exciting. I want something which will actually interact with the user in some way. Then let's make a really small part of a really bad chatbot. First, we'll get the user's name. Please enter your name. And then what you might do is something like hello plus name plus exclamation mark at the end. So this will greet the user. So if I run this, Jim, hello Jim. And then you can print out later, it is nice to meet you. Plus, it's nice to meet you. Name. Can you please tell me your favorite food? Oh, no, let's ask for their age. Age. So we're going to get the age of the user. Whoa, crazy. But can you please enter your age? So this will get the age of the user, and we can print out, wow, you are, here, we can convert the type and add it to the string. String of the age, so convert the age into a string. You are age years old. In 1 year, you will be, and then we can add on the string of age plus 1. So in 1 year, how old the person will be. So in 1 year, you'll be something years old. That's amazing. Let's run this real quick. Please enter your name. Alastar. And my age. Oh, hello, Alastar. It's nice to meet you, Alastar. Can you please enter your age? Let's say I'm 16. Wow, you're 16 years old. In 1 year, you'll be 17 years old. Amazing. I'm just baffled beyond belief. But wait, Alastar, you might be thinking to yourself, I really have a really weird question. What if whenever they want my age, I enter in a letter? Teehee. My age is E. And you see we get an error. Real quick, just so you know, in the integer conversion command, you can't convert words into numbers because, Python's like, dude, letters are letters. How do I convert a word into a frickin' number? You're silly. Get out of here. Yeah. So just keep in mind that when you're using the integer, or the float command, that they cannot convert words or letters into numbers. All right. I hope some of this helped you review or just helped you out. If you're confused by anything, then I would say practice. Practice makes perfect. And you know what they say about perfection? It's impossible. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and good night.